Most traders spend years chasing the perfect indicator, the perfect entry technique, the perfect secret strategy that only elite traders know. And in that chase, they skip over the one thing that actually helps their account grow consistently: simplicity. Not basic, not naive. Simplicity. The kind of simplicity that cuts through the noise of 500 indicators, unpredictable news, emotional impulses, and turns your trading into something that finally makes sense. And before you roll your eyes and think, "Yeah, I've heard simple is better," let me tell you, if you're still inconsistent, if your account goes up and down like a roller coaster, if you still overtrade, hesitate, panic, or rush entries, then you've never truly experienced what simple trading actually feels like. Because simple doesn't mean easy. Simple means clear. And clarity is the most valuable currency a trader can ever have. Think about how you trade right now. You probably have multiple indicators on your screen: RSI, MACD, EMAs, VWAP, maybe some fancy colored zones you downloaded from somewhere. You watch price, you watch indicators, you watch volume, you watch every little wiggle on the chart. You try to interpret everything at once. And guess what? Your brain can't handle it. Trading becomes harder, not because the market is difficult, but because your screen is overloaded with information that your mind can't process under pressure. And that leads to the worst enemy of your trading account: confusion. Confusion breeds hesitation. Hesitation leads to fear. Fear leads to late entries, bad exits, and emotional decisions. And emotional decisions? Those destroy accounts faster than any losing streak ever could. But now imagine the opposite. Imagine a trading approach so simple that your mind feels quiet. Your chart feels clean. Your decisions feel intentional. You know exactly what you're looking for. You know exactly when to enter and exactly when to walk away. No stress, no panic, no second guessing, just calm execution. That's what the simplest trading framework gives you. Not just a way to trade, but a way to think. And here's what most traders never realize. Complexity doesn't make you a better trader. Complexity makes you feel smart, right until the market smacks you in the face. The traders who last 5, 10, 15 years, they're not using magic. They're not decoding hidden patterns no one else can see. They're using simple frameworks that guide their decisions and protect their mindset. A real trading framework does one thing. It removes randomness from your actions. Without a framework, every day feels different. You wake up with a different mood. You trade differently based on how much sleep you got. You react differently depending on whether your last trade was a win or a loss. You break rules, you create new ones, you forget old ones, and your trading becomes unstructured chaos. But with a simple framework, you operate like a pilot. Same checklist, same structure, same steps. Doesn't matter if the market is calm or volatile. Doesn't matter if yesterday was a win or a loss. Your actions remain consistent even when your emotions aren't. This is why you grow. This is why your account stabilizes. This is why your risk stays controlled. This is why your results begin to smooth out. Because the framework becomes your anchor in a storm that never stops moving. And here's the simplest framework that actually works. One that has helped thousands of traders get out of chaos and into clarity. It has only 3 steps. Identify the direction, find the level, and wait for confirmation. That's it. 3 steps. Not 30 indicators. Not 10 signals. Not some advanced mathematical formula that requires a degree to understand. Just direction, level, confirmation. And before you think, is that really enough? Let me ask you something. What ruins most trades? It's not the setup. It's the trader. It's impatience. It's taking trades in choppy markets. It's entering without knowing where price is going. It's jumping in the middle instead of waiting for price to return to a meaningful level. It's taking trades with no confirmation. You lose not because your strategy is bad, but because you don't follow a structured process. Direction gives you focus. Level gives you a place to act. Confirmation gives you timing. Without direction, you're trading blind. Without levels, you're trading randomly. Without confirmation, you're gambling. When you combine all 3, the chaos disappears. And something shifts inside you. You start seeing the chart differently. The noise becomes background. The candles stop feeling like a threat. You stop reacting to every spike. You stop chasing breakouts. You stop panicking during pullbacks. You start watching price the way a chess player watches the board, calm, analytical, patient. Most traders lose because they chase the middle. They trade between levels, where price is unpredictable. They trade without knowing who's in control, buyers or sellers. They force entries just because the chart is moving, and the market punishes them for it. Because the middle is where the traps live. The middle is where liquidity games happen. The middle is where emotions take over. But when you trade only from level to level, everything simplifies. You wait for price to come to a meaningful zone. You let the market show its hand. You wait for confirmation. Maybe it's a rejection wick, maybe a shift in candle strength, maybe a clear break and retest. And only then do you enter. You're no longer reacting to randomness. You're acting based on structure. And this is where the magic happens. Not because you make more trades, but because you make fewer bad ones. You stop bleeding money from unnecessary entries. You stop stressing over every little move. You stop blowing your account from impulsive decisions. You grow because your losses shrink. And once losses shrink, profits no longer have to save you. They simply accumulate. The simplest framework doesn't turn you into a perfect trader. It turns you into a consistent one. And consistency is what grows accounts. Not luck, not prediction, not trying to catch the perfect top or bottom. Consistency. The ability to repeat the same high-quality decisions over and over again. Most traders burn out because they treat trading like a sprint. They want quick profits, instant wins, fast results. But your account grows the way a tree grows. Slow, steady, stable. And a simple framework becomes the soil that supports that growth. It grounds you. It stabilizes you. It protects you from yourself. And once you start applying this kind of structure, the market stops feeling like an enemy. It becomes something you can navigate, something you can understand, something you can respect without fearing. And that's where the real growth begins. And once you start looking at trading through this framework first lens, something interesting happens. The market becomes less personal. You stop fighting it. You stop expecting it to behave a certain way. You start observing it the way a scientist observes patterns in nature. If the wind changes direction, a scientist doesn't scream at the sky. He simply adjusts his hypothesis. And in the same way, you begin adjusting your expectations without emotional turbulence. This is where your confidence starts to grow, not because you've suddenly mastered the market, but because you've finally begun mastering yourself. And growing your account becomes a byproduct of this internal transformation. As the days go on, you'll notice that this framework makes your trading sessions look cleaner. You open your chart, you already know what you're looking for. You're not browsing indicators like you're shopping at a mall. You're not scrolling through time frames trying to find something that looks right. Your chart feels less like a battlefield and more like a workspace where decisions are calculated, deliberate, and calm. Even the way you enter trades feels different. Instead of reacting to noise, you're responding to structure. You're not buying because a candle looks strong. You're buying because your framework says, bias confirmed, entry aligned, risk acceptable. And because of that, your trades carry a sense of purpose. Now here's where most traders misunderstand growth. They think growth in a trading account means bigger profits. But true growth actually starts as reduced stupidity. Growth begins when you stop doing reckless things. Growth begins when you stop chasing. Growth begins when you stop revenge trading. Growth begins when you stop adding unnecessary risk just this once. And a proper framework does that for you. It removes the room for randomness. It doesn't let you operate on impulse. It forces you to operate with intention. And when you operate with intention, your account naturally begins to stabilize. And when it stabilizes, only then does it grow. And once your account stabilizes, something beautiful happens. You stop being scared of the market. Think about that for a second. Most traders say they want profits, but what they actually want is to stop being scared. They want to stop feeling anxious before entering a trade. They want to stop feeling sick to their stomach when a candle pulls against them. They want to stop feeling like the market is out to get them. And the simplest trading framework does exactly that. It kills the ambiguity. It replaces fear with clarity. It replaces panic with a plan. It replaces chaos with consistency. Then comes one of the biggest mindset shifts. You stop trying to be right, and you start trying to be aligned. That's a maturity most traders never reach. But once your framework is clearer than your ego, you don't care about being right anymore. You care about being systematic. You care about protecting your capital. You care about letting your winners play out because they align with your edge, not because you feel good about the chart. And you care about cutting losses because they break your framework, not because you're emotionally hurt by the move. This is the shift from amateur to professional. This is also the point where trading starts feeling easier, not because the market changed, but because you changed. You're not fighting your impulses every minute. You're not negotiating with yourself mid-trade. You're not hesitating on entries or panicking on exits. You're following a map. You're following rules. And something that once felt chaotic now feels peaceful. The market hasn't become more predictable. You've simply become more disciplined. You've installed a framework that filters noise and amplifies clarity. But here's the thing nobody tells new traders. A simple framework doesn't limit you. It expands you. It unlocks your creativity. It frees up mental bandwidth. Because when the basics are fixed, you finally have room to think deeply. You can study patterns more clearly. You can understand structure more confidently. You can experiment with improvements without fear. You can analyze your mistakes without shame. You become a student of the market instead of a victim of it. And that shift is priceless. Slowly, your trading sessions start looking more consistent. And consistency builds trust. And trust builds confidence. And confidence builds growth. Not explosive growth, but stable, sustainable, real growth. Growth that compounds quietly. Growth that becomes your identity. Growth that doesn't rely on luck. Growth that doesn't collapse under pressure. And that, right there, is what the simplest trading framework gives you, growth that lasts. And when you stick to the framework long enough, you begin to see a new version of yourself forming. You become someone who doesn't need excitement to trade. You become someone who doesn't need constant wins to feel valid. You become someone who doesn't need the market to behave perfectly to stay calm. You evolve into someone who trades with a certain stillness, a calm intensity. A person who has replaced chaos with clarity. A person who actually understands how accounts are grown and protected over time. And it's in these moments, quiet moments, where you look back and realize the market didn't make you better. Your framework did. Your discipline did. Your consistency did. Your patience did. You learned to stop forcing growth and instead created an environment where growth naturally happens. And once this framework becomes second nature, your entire approach to trading changes. You no longer panic when price moves fast. You no longer chase trades just because you feel missing out. You no longer hold losing trades out of hope or revenge. You start seeing the market for what it is, a neutral environment that rewards structure, patience, and proper execution. And that realization alone lifts an enormous weight off your shoulders. Suddenly, trading is no longer stressful. It becomes a game of strategy, observation, and disciplined action. And here's the most powerful thing. Growth now becomes predictable. Not in the sense that every trade will win, because the market never guarantees that, but predictable in the sense that your account starts moving in the right direction over time. Losses are controlled. Wins compound. Risk is managed. Emotions are filtered. You no longer feel like you're constantly at the mercy of the market because you've created a structure that protects you from your own impulses. And that is the ultimate advantage every trader is searching for. This framework doesn't make you invincible, and it doesn't make you immune to mistakes. But it makes mistakes smaller, less frequent, and far less damaging. It gives you confidence that comes from repeatable, deliberate actions rather than luck. It transforms trading from a gamble into a skill. And over weeks, months, and years, it compounds into real growth. The kind that no flashy indicator, no holy grail system, and no risky shortcut can ever replace. And slowly, almost imperceptibly, you become a different trader. You start noticing patterns in your behavior. You start observing the market with clarity instead of reacting to every candle. You begin to understand the difference between impulse and opportunity. You start taking trades only when everything aligns with your framework, and in those moments, something magical happens. You see results. Not just wins, but confidence, consistency, and real growth. And once you experience that, it becomes addictive. Not the thrill of the market, but the calm, powerful feeling of being in control. And that's the true power of the simplest trading framework. It doesn't promise instant riches. It doesn't promise perfection. But it promises something far more valuable, the ability to grow your account reliably, sustainably, and without being constantly at war with yourself. It teaches you to respect the process, trust the structure, and act intentionally. And when that mindset aligns with your actions, trading finally becomes something you can win at over and over again. So if you're tired of chasing every candle, overwhelmed by indicators, frustrated by impulsive decisions, or burned out from inconsistency, remember this: simplicity is your edge. A clear framework is your weapon. Direction, level, confirmation, those 3 steps are all you need to grow your account steadily. Implement them consistently, respect the process, and your account will do the rest. And if this video helped you see trading in a simpler, more structured way, make sure to subscribe to the channel for more actionable trading insights. Comment below with your biggest trading struggle, and share your thoughts with the community. Let's grow smarter, not harder, together.